Hi, everyone. Welcome to my session today about a step change with Splunk Enterprise Security. Before we begin, some forward-looking statements. In this presentation, I'll be talking about things that are potentially future roadmap. And the reminder is if you make a purchase decision, you should base it on what is available right now from Splunk and not anything that might come up in the future. So this session is about all the new things and all the new innovations that we've put in Splunk Enterprise Security. We've made a bunch of updates, and it is really a step change in what we're offering. So let's begin. First, I want to start by acknowledging the reality of the SOC, the Security Operations Center. That's incredibly tough today. And we hear consistent feedback from a lot of our customers and a lot of organizations about three core challenges that they're facing. The first is there's too much data, and it's really difficult to find the signal from the noise in that data, find the alerts that actually matter in all the data that you're getting. So for instance, if you're in a loud restaurant and you're trying to talk to a friend, it's very difficult to focus on what they're saying if there's a lot of background noise and background music. You need to shout really loud, or you might miss a few of the things that the friend is saying. The same thing applies for security. There's so many alerts and detections firing, and it's very difficult, first of all, to get everything into your SOC. And then the second thing, make sure that the detections that you take action on are really the most important ones. The second is that many SOCs are facing a disconnected and incomplete tool set. So, we're all consumers of technology. We all have smartphones and laptops, and we all know what it's like when an application is not working and we need to switch from email to Slack to WebEx to Zoom and copy and paste and make those mental context switches when we switch between tools. The same thing is the SOCs are facing the same challenges, people, the analysts there. So they need to switch between SOAR and SIM and get something about user behavior analytics and use so many different tools. And each time it's a mental context switch. Each time they need to copy and paste and they forget where they're at, and that just slows them down. And finally, not having the right skill set or being underskilled or understaffed to address all the growing challenges that we have today in the cyber landscape. These are not new, but they're getting worse because of AI. So we use AI. A lot of people use AI to accelerate their work, but so do the threat actors. So they're able to execute a lot more attacks and a lot more sophisticated attacks, actually, that make the work and the life of the SOC much more difficult. So a lot of organizations try different SecOps platforms, but the problem is that many of these platforms have limitations that make it difficult for the SOCs to really meet the demands of what we call the new agentic AI era. So first of all, they might not have all the data, or they have limited data storage options, which means that you can only run detections on the data that you have. You cannot run detections on data that you don't have. So if you cannot see all the data, you are limited by what you can detect and the threats that you can take action on. Similarly, they might be somewhat closed or limited ecosystems that can only work on data from their own clouds, their own firewalls, or their own EDRs. So that limits, again, what you can detect. Or they have limited deployment options. You can deploy them only on one single public cloud, or you cannot deploy them on-prem. And that is a limitation for a lot of organizations and a lot of customers. We talked about the incomplete TDIR toolset, what we call threat detection, investigation, and response. And the last thing is about AI. Many of them do use AI because otherwise we cannot really scale to meet the demands of threat actors using AI. But other TDIR platforms often have opaque or all or nothing AI. So you either have to turn it on and trust it, or you don't use their AI at all. And then when you do use it, it makes decisions, but you don't really know why it made those decisions and whether that makes sense for you. So, with all of these challenges, we see the cracks. Splunk, every year we run this state of security report where we interview over 2,000 organizations about the challenges that they're facing in their SOCs. And one of the things that came out this year is like really bad outcomes. So 66% of organizations have experienced a data breach in the last year alone. 46% of SOC teams spend more time maintaining their tools than actually doing threat investigation. Think about it. You're spending almost half the time doing overhead work instead of actual work. That's really not productive. That really slows you down. And think of how much more effective and efficient you can be if you reduce that overhead. And finally, 32% of SOC teams do not have the right skill set to be effective. And this talent gap, combined with everything else that we talked about, makes it much more difficult for you to be ready for new and emerging threats. The good news is that there's a powerful solution for these challenges. It's time to fundamentally change how security operations is done. So we here at Splunk, we believe it's time to end analyst fatigue and empower your teams to do more and achieve more with the leading AI-powered SecOps platform, which is Splunk Enterprise Security. So what does a modern AI-powered SecOps platform look like? Well, uh, Splunk Enterprise Security is built on the foundation of a few things. First of all, having complete data visibility, being able to see and act on data, on any data, regardless of how it's formatted and regardless of where it sits. It can be indexed, it can be in a data lake, it can be in cold storage. You can act on it wherever it sits. And then on top of that, you need to have high fidelity detection. So you need to be able to find the important signal within the noise of that data and really know that there are very, very few false positives. Any detection is important. And even within the important detections, you should be able to prioritize and act on the ones that are really critical, and then only after those critical issues have been resolved, move on to the next ones. To do that, you need to have market leading capabilities. You need to have the market leading SIM. You need to have the market leading SOAR, leading UEBA, and all the tools that the SOC needs in order to be effective. Everything on top of that all these different tools should be working seamlessly in one single user interface with automation everywhere so that you need to have as little manual work as possible. And everything should be powered by AI in a way that helps you and accelerates your work. This integrated approach delivers three essential benefits to customers. First, it unlocks full fidelity visibility. That means gaining visibility and control over all your security data, enriching threat intelligence in real time, and mapping attacker tactics and improving detection accuracy. Delivering the best analyst experience. We talked about how frustrating it is when you need to switch between different applications. Well, guess what? Splunk Enterprise Security takes all of these different components, SIM, SOAR, UEBA, detection engineering, intelligence, and puts them in one single user interface, and everything is done uh, in enterprise security so that you don't have to have those mental context switches. And finally, accelerating the SOC with AI and agentics. Build Embedding, that means embedding purpose-built AI into every workflow. But this is not an on and off or all or nothing. This is AI that works for you with a human in the loop at your speed. And we'll get to that later. I'll add some more details about what that means. So those are the core promises of Splunk Enterprise Security as an AI-powered SecOps platform. To be clear, we've taken the ES that you know and love and enhanced it. We took the market leading SIM and integrated it with our SOAR and UEBA and threat intelligence and all the other components that you need into one platform so that your SOC can be more efficient, effective, and provide you and your organization with better defense. So let's look at the benefits that we mentioned. We talked about unlocking full fidelity visibility. That means taking all the data, regardless of where it resides, making it economically efficient so that you can use high-tier storage for fast processing for things that matter, and you can use low-tier storage for compliance and things that you don't really need on a day-to-day basis, but you need to keep them as a record, but still make everything searchable. Then you want to run high fidelity detections on that data and be able to fine tune those detections so that you know that you hardly have any false positives. But the flip side is also true. One of the things that we've seen that is a problem for a lot of customers is that they put in a detection against a threat and they think that they are covered. But they haven't tested that detection. They don't know if it actually works. And that's even worse because you think you're protected and actually you're not. So this is what we're doing with Detection Studio. We're giving you that ability to test and fine tune detections. And then once those detections do fire, then you want to be able to prioritize them based on the risk. And even if there's a attack, if there are attacks that we call low and slow that do something small and then the attacker waits a few more weeks and then does another small thing, we aggregate all of these different actions and alert you when something really important is going on. Delivering the best analyst experience, we've talked about providing integrated end-to-end threat detection, investigation, and response workflows with native SIM, native SOAR, native UEBA, all with the same case management, with automation everywhere, and in one single user interface. Now, one thing I want to highlight here is that many SOAR products actually price based on the number of users. Well, we realized that if we want to empower analysts to really tackle threats in the AI era, then everyone in the SOC should have access to automation. Everyone in the SOC should have access to SOAR and to playbooks and create playbooks. So all of these things are embedded in enterprise security. Now, everyone in the SOC can use it, and it is not charged based on per seat licenses. No, it's for everyone in the SOC. And same thing with user and entity behavior analytics. This is something that's embedded and tested in Splunk Enterprise Security so that you can detect and mitigate insider threats so that you can identify zero-day attacks and make sure that your organization is secure. And finally, accelerating the SOC. So as you can see on the slide, we provided a lot of AI goodness from explaining alerts to junior analysts to creating playbooks using natural language, and to having agents automatically evaluate and prioritize alerts and even responding automatically. Now, all of these are designed to empower analysts and make them more efficient and more effective. But what makes Splunk unique and different in this space is what we call the human in the loop. So nobody right now feels comfortable just handing over the keys to the AI to do everything. No, we need to build trust. The AI needs to gain our trust. We need to see what it's doing and make sure that it fits our organization and that we trust it. So what that means is that whenever an AI wants to take action, first of all, it can explain the logic behind it. And second, you can decide whether that logic makes sense for your organization or not, and then approve or disapprove. And only after you've seen it enough time and you say, yes, this AI, I trust it, I can work with it, I'm willing to hand it some of the workflows, maybe not all of the workflows, you can do that. And if you don't feel comfortable, you don't have to do that. That's what we mean by human in the loop. So Splunk Enterprise Security is now available in 2 editions. The market leading SIM, Enterprise Security Essentials, unifies threat detection, alert triage, threat intelligence, investigation, and response into a single platform. And now it is enhanced with the AI Assistant for security. And we've also announced Detection Studio and Alpha. Enterprise Security Premier takes that market leading SIM and expands it by adding the native SOAR that we mentioned and the native UEBA. Going a level deeper with some more details, both editions of Enterprise Security can help you with the same use cases. Essentially, ES Essentials provides you with everything that you need from a SIM. A unified platform for security events, the ability to detect, investigate, and hunt for threats using different detection techniques and data analytics. And with Essentials, you'll also be able to use Detection Studio once it's generally available and get entitlements to use the AI Assistant for security. What ES Premier provides you on top of that is you get that integrated SOAR, that native SOAR that is available for everyone in the SOC. And you also get proven and tested and verified UEBA. So we've tested those the machine learning models that detect anomalies and notify you if there's a insider threat. We've seen that they scale, we've tested them. So you don't need to manually or create them yourselves. You can just rely on what we provide out of the box. So let's switch gears. Why should you choose Splunk Enterprise Security? Well, because cyber threats pose such a big risk to your business operations, it's really important to choose a proven security platform. You want to minimize the risk. That is the main thing that security products do. So Splunk has been recognized as a leader in the Gartner Magic Quadrant for SIM for 10 consecutive years. What this means is, or this consistent recognition underscores our sustained ability to innovate and our commitment to delivering world-class experience and world-class SecOps solutions for your SOC. And we've also been ranked #1 in all of the use cases in Gartner's critical capabilities for SIM. So what that means is that we take the best components, the best capabilities to build that single AI-powered SecOps platform. What I want to highlight is that we've been doing this for over a decade. And why is that important? It's not just a 3.0 or a 4.0 release. And the reason why this is important is that every SOC is a little bit different. So we don't force fit you into a solution that was not designed for you, but rather we've had the time and the experience to build a complete solution that can meet all your use cases so that you don't need to swivel chair, so that you don't need to bolt together multiple solutions. You have one thing that covers all of your use cases. And in the past few years, we've also been focused on building a solution that fits the agentic AI era with a unified platform with automation and AI everywhere and for everyone in the SOC. So let's see what customers have already been able to achieve with this unified SecOps platform. IDC, the research firm, did an analysis called the business value of Splunk security and published it in a white paper. And what they've interviewed a bunch of customers, and what they've seen is that customers that are using our AI powered platform were able to identify threats 64% faster and resolve incidents 55% faster. That's a lot. That's a lot of threats that are being resolved, and it cuts the dwell time by more than half. That's very critical for businesses. And furthermore, uh, because of all the baked-in intelligence and the high fidelity alerts that and detections that we provide, they were able to lower the false positive rates by 46%. Think about it. You have 46% fewer alerts that you need to check whether they're important or not. You know that what you're getting is important. And finally, because we've put together SIM and SOAR and UEBA all in one unified platform, if you compare it to bolting on multiple solutions, it actually comes out, this unified platform comes out 38% lower cost. So you're actually saving money there. A few examples of customers. You know, Children's National Hospital is a customer of ours, and there are really bad threat actors there that target hospitals, that target children's hospitals. And as a healthcare provider, there are lots of regulations, data privacy, a lot of concerns. And before Splunk, their security teams faced swivel chair syndrome, constantly switching between multiple tools. They had a bunch of alerts. They did not have one single place for all that information. And this led to the fact that they simply could not process all those alerts effectively. Exactly the problems that we talked about earlier in this presentation. And now they can detect threats more accurately and increase their analyst productivity, as you can see on the slide. The financial sector with Fannie Mae also it's one of the largest scale financial institutions serving millions of customers in the US. And it has as a financial institution, it has very strict regulations that it needs to follow. So similarly, like the previous example, they were also able to take enterprise security and make their SOC and security operations much more efficient and effective. So to summarize our discussion today, Splunk Enterprise Security, the SIM that you know and love and trust, has really evolved and grew to become a leading AI-powered SecOps platform that has SOAR and UEBA and threat intelligence and detection engineering and AI all combined together into one single platform. It's specifically designed to address the most pressing challenges that the SOCs are facing, the overwhelming amount of data and the difficulties in getting high fidelity alerts, the inefficiencies caused by having multiple disconnected tools, and the struggle to keep pace with all the evolving threats that are out there. We offer this powerful solution in two flexible editions, ES Essentials and ES Premier. So that ensures that you can take the solution that fits your organization, regardless of where you're at in your SOC journey. So with that, I'd like to thank you for spending the time with me today. I hope this has been helpful and educational. And if you want to learn more, we have a ton of materials on our website. You can take a product walkthrough. You can listen to webinars with customers. You can sign up for live demos. So please take advantage of all that we have to offer. And thank you.